Hey, this is GunsmithBeard back with another gun video, and it's really good to see you guys. I hope everyone is having a great Friday and great weekend. I wanted to talk to you guys about the promise I made a couple weeks ago when I was doing the Glock 43X MOS gun review. I said, let's add some parts to it and see what we think. And so this week is that moment where we take all these parts that I'm about to show you and we install them on the bench. So I think it's the first bench video that I've done on YouTube. I can't remember. If I'll go through all my videos, I might be able to find one, but I don't think there is one. So really exciting for me to do this for you guys, and hopefully I don't get nuked by YouTube for doing it. So let's talk about the brands. But before we do, big thank you to our channel supporters and you guys. If they're new to the channel, like I always say, welcome. If you're returning, I appreciate your loyalty and helping me grow my brand and my channel. A big thank you to Brownells, which is a channel supporter. All the parts that I'm going to show you that we install on the 43X MOS is from Brownells. So you can buy all the things that I am going to show you directly from Brownells. My other channel supporters are Swamp Fox Optics and Shooter Innovations. A big thank you to them also. So let's look at some parts really quick, and then we're going to start working on it together. So the first one is the Optic, and that is the Vortex Defender, which is the Shield MOS footprint. It's a 3 MOA dot. The color of the dot is red. It takes a CR1632 battery. On the brightest setting on this, it runs for about 9,500 hours, which most people aren't going to run on the brightest setting anyway. But it is a adjustment is 1 minute of angle graduation, and then the travel per rotation is about 30 minutes of angle. And you can kind of get deeper into the specs on this, but this is a really good optic. I had heard only good things about it, and so we're going to install that today. Also, we're going to change the irons out for the Ford control. They make really high-end stuff. A lot of guys call them kind of a Gucci boutique company, but I think they make good stuff, so we're going to install those with a sight pusher. For the frame, we had talked about running these S15 15-round magazines for the Glock 43X, and then to do that, you do need their mag catch. So both of these parts we're going to run, and then if you're going to have a gun, a lot of guys are going to run a light. So the best light that I could find for this gun that fits perfectly is the TLR-7 Sub, and this one is specifically made for Glock. They claim it works for the 43X MOS, the 48 MOS. It's for basically the 43X and the 48. So we're going to install all that in just a second. But again, it's really good to see you guys. And so let's dive in to this, and hopefully you enjoy. Thanks. All right, welcome back. So this is a tabletop that we probably haven't done on this channel before. I've done stuff like this on my Instagram, but I know YouTube can be a little weird about what I can and cannot show you guys. But so first thing, make sure the firearm is safe. So I don't have a magazine in, and there's no round in the chamber. So now what I want to do is separate the two. So I just pull back on the slide just a little bit and then release the slide lock. So now I have the slide and frame separated. Let's get started with the mag catch button. As you would expect, we need the actual part itself. Here's the new catch, and it is metal, which is really well made, and I do like the little pad they have on it. It is nice. But first, we have to get the old one out, and that can be kind of tricky, like I said. So on my toolkit, I have a little pick tool, which looks like, oops, it's gonna stay in my hand. Looks like that. And this is a law enforcement screwdriver, the Magnatip series, and this one's from Brownells. So I'll just Put this little piece on there. And then, see if I can show you guys. It's gonna be hard. Lighting is not the best. You can kind of see that little rod. And then the catch is this little piece right here that we're gonna try to get that rod off of. There it is. So now if I can show you, the rod is off of the little button. And you can kind of work this. There you go. So you guys can see what I'm talking about. You can kind of work it till it comes off. And to be honest, it's easier in my opinion to leave the little rod in place. Don't take that out. And so that's the factory one. That's the replacement. So what I do is I kind of get it started on this bigger side, and then I bend the rod out. And you can do it from up top too. It doesn't really matter how you do it. And just kind of bend the rod out. Let's see. Come on. I missed it. Sorry, I hit the camera. So what I'm trying to do, and it's gonna be hard to see, but I'm trying to hook that little silver spring on the back of the catch. Once you get that, you can kind of finagle the catch itself, the button, and just kind of push it in. You're kind of on home stretch now, but there's no tension, as you can see. So what you have to do is you can come up to the top or the bottom, and you need to reset that spring onto the catch. So see if I can do that. Nope. There it is. All right, so now I have spring tension. And how you know you've done that successfully is the little notch, which is right here. That little spring is hung up or underneath that notch. So when you push the actual button, see if I can do it. That's what it should do. So not terribly hard. So now you can test it with one of their magazines. And their notch on the mag, and you can kind of see the button reset, and the button releases the magazine. So you can kind of watch the magazine catch button latch. You see how it kind of jumps, and then it works pretty good. And the magazine drops free. That's what you want. All right. Next, let's do the light, because we're already on kind of the frame, and everything else really has more to do with the slide. So here's the light. There she is. Dun, 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 dun. And this has GL for Glock. And yes, they do make them for other styles. So make sure you get the one. If you're going to mount it on a 43 or even a 48, you get the GL Glock version. And then gotta have your 123A battery. And then cool logos. Sometimes they give you, or not logos, sorry, decals or stickers. Sometimes they give you the stickers, sometimes they don't. And it's like, dude, I just spent a lot of money for this tiny little flashlight. And you guys can't even give me some nice decals to put on the safe or whatever. I figured out through trial and error, the best thing to turn this flat bladed set screw on the light itself is actually a coin. Because the reason I say that is because if you try to use like one of these flat bits, and Brownells has a ton of those, but one of those, it doesn't work because it doesn't fit right. And even if you get the right blade width and all that stuff, it's not concaved, and you can see it. A penny or a dime will work the best. So let me grab one of those. All right, so as promised, a penny, and then it just works. I don't know why I didn't, or have that light bulb moment, I guess, when I first bought these, that like, oh, just your change is the best way to tighten and loosen these, not an actual flat edge screwdriver. So you live, you learn, I guess. Two, especially with these TLR lights, if you don't have this little locking bar in this notch, when you shoot them, and don't ask me how I know this, but when you shoot them, they launch the really expensive flashlight about 10 yards in front of you. And so you have to make sure, if yours takes plates, that you get the right plate that fits the notch, or when you buy it, that it actually fits the correct notch. So you want to make sure, like you can see how this one kind of sits in that notch really well. If it's not locked in the notch, see, the notch works as a recoil lug, and it keeps the light when you're shooting from moving forward on this little rail. So you gotta have that. If you don't have that, it just doesn't work. And that's also why my TLR-8G would not work with this, because I got extra plates. I played around with the plates, and the plates didn't line up with the notch. And I tried it anyway, and of course, when I was shooting it, it started wiggling off this rail and getting closer and closer and closer to coming off. And the SIGs I have, you can shoot maybe a magazine and the light will just completely launch 10 yards in front of you. So pretty hilarious for the people standing around you, wondering what in the world just came off your gun, and did it break as you shot it, or, you know, catastrophic failure or whatever. But no, it's just the locking plates either wasn't the correct one or didn't have a locking plate at all. So again, like I said, this penny or dime works really, really well to tighten this up. And you really do want it tight. I mean, you don't want to over tighten it to the point where you're going to break or bend your frame, but it needs to be on there pretty tight. And I always try to tug at it like that and see if it'll come off. And if it moves when you tug, guess what? It's not tight enough. So, all right. And also, you notice the penny doesn't mess up the screw, where if you try to use these flat edge bits, they will cut the little groove really bad. So I can't remember. No, it's the other way. It's like that. And of course, they have a dummy guide on there to make sure you put the battery in correctly. Okay, and then, ooh, nice. So temporary release, and then this is on all the time. It fits the frame really nicely. And I do have a custom holster that I'll share with you when it comes in for this pistol or for this build. But let's put the frame aside and we're gonna move to the slide because we have a couple parts we need to put on that. All right, so let's put the optic on. Like I said, we have the Vortex Defender that we're gonna try to install. But on the slide, I don't need the recoil spring or the barrel. So I'll just kind of take those off and put those aside. Now you have 2 torque screws that you need to take off. And so, let me see. It's a T10, if you guys were wondering. So you know what size you need. So you don't have to guess. I'm gonna tell you. All right, there's that. And then here's the second one. They're really not on there all that tight. I guess because it's just a cover plate, not an optic. Even though their screws do have Loctite on them. So there's the cover plate. And that's plastic. That's not even metal. Huh. But nice and clean under there. Before I put on the optic, I'm going ahead and noticing with this plate off, it's going to be 1,000 times easier to get the sights on. So let's do that instead. I mean, I can put the optic on and mount it and do all that stuff, then take it right back off to put sights. And that's usually what happens because a lot of guys buy optics and then haven't changed the sights, or they change the sights and then later get the optic, so vice versa. So I have a monstrosity of a sight pusher. This is the MGW. So I'm going to take this completely apart. Usually I do this on my vise, but that I moved and across the country and a lot of stuff is in storage. I don't have access to my really nice workbench and all that jazz, so that sucks. Moving sucks. Having all your tooling and stuff kind of all over the place also sucks. Let's see. Okay, that's way too big, but all right. So Glock doesn't have a front dovetail, as you know. And let's see. I'm gonna put it. Trying to see how I want to do this. Yeah, like that. That's what I want. Okay. I'm not going to tighten this up all the way yet because, let's see. So I want it to move a little bit. And then just drift it left to right out. You can already see it starting to come out. Okay, so next we want this guy. There she is. And a lot of guys are probably going to be like, whoa, which side goes where? And I'm going to be honest, it's pretty easy. The serrations face towards you, but even if yours has serrations on both sides, usually when you look at the top, see how this side is more narrow? It kind of looks like a funnel, where this side is wider, this side is more narrow. This side is facing you, so the back end, like here, the open end is facing the front sight, just so you know. Because I always get asked those kind of questions, which there's nothing wrong with that. So what I do is I try to start this in the dovetail, and it's already going not quite halfway, which is great. That's really where I want to see it. And then I'll hydraulically press it with this bad boy all the way in, and then we'll take some measurements so we know we're centered. The new sight, and we're going to press it in. So, and then just keep twisting it. And like I said, this is a lot more hydraulic pressure, so it's going to take a little bit of muscle to get it in there. Sorry, this isn't as pretty on camera because I don't have it in a vise, but let's see. Okay, take the pressure off, and then we're gonna look at it. Holy cow, guys. I think I nailed it. See a little gap? And then I see a little gap. Now, if you want to be OCD and get it perfect, I'll show you how you do that. Hopefully, my caliber. Okay. 540 and 520. So again, that's so freaking close. That's like we're difference of 20,000 between this side and this side. So that's really close, guys. So I'm done with the pusher. I can kind of put all this away. So I've had it for 7 years, and I have done other people's guns when I was doing gunsmithing, custom builds, blah, 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 blah. It paid itself off. So it's been well worth the investment. All right, so front sight, we got to get rid of that. And you need a special tool for that. So we don't need that right now. We'll swap it out. I'm going to take this front sight off. So tool goes down in. Like that. Ooh, that's a long one. Okay, that should be it. Nope, still on there. Oh, there we go, we got it. That's the front sight screw, and then this should just pop out. I think they locked it. There you go, they did. So that's the factory front sight. Got that off. Here's the 1x4 controls, if you guys are interested. They make really good stuff. So they give you the parts, and I always recommend you use their stuff because the measurement on the set screw might be a little bit different. And then show you the front blade is serrated. So you just take it and hold it on there. Okay, got it. Okay. And then there it is. Okay, there she is. Nice and tight. Man, those sides look tall. But we don't have the optic on, so let's see what it looks like with the optic. All right, so when you buy an optic, sometimes finding the right screws is part of it. So here's the box. That lifetime forever guarantee that they have. Ooh, their packaging is pretty nice. Look at that. Wow. Oh, it's got a Picatinny base we got to take off. What else is in here? What the heck is all that? Okay, so that must be all the paperwork and stuff in here. It is. Good Lord. There's the screws. So, I won't painfully make you watch me go through all these screws and take off this base. So give me 1 second and I'll take all that off and we'll come back once I figure it out. All right, so I guess I got insanely lucky. And what I mean by that is there's the battery that we're gonna have to install. But so when I took these screws right here off of this Picatinny base for the optic, which honestly, this is a really nice base. They did a really good job. But the point I'm making is these are the identical screws I need for the Glock slide. So I don't even have to go through all these tons and tons of screws because these are the screws I need, which is awesome. So I don't need the base, obviously, because it's going to mount directly to this. But first, here is the beautiful optic. And we need to put the battery in there. So just a flathead. Let me slide this over and just run it down like that. And just turn it off. Is it off? There it is. All right, so I know I'm ripping of packages that people might cringe. What are you doing? All right. There's the battery, positive side, and then I like to actually just stick it in there, to be honest, to make sure it's a good fit with my thumb. And then get the plate cover on it, and then turn it the other way. Okay, I should have power. Oh, I do have power. There we go. Perfect. It's a 3 minute of angle dot, so pretty small. There it is. Let's mount it. And what I like to do, I don't have any Loctite with me, but what I would do is put just a little bit of Loctite on one side of the screw and make sure this thing doesn't come off. But right now, just for the video sake, that is it. She is installed and she is beautiful. Let me see. And hey, my cover goes over. I've installed a lot of optics and then the cover won't work. But put it all back together. Like that. There she is. And nothing in the chamber, nothing in the magazine. Wow. That's it. So guys, this is the final product, and of course, can't forget the magazine. So that's it. I'm a little worried that these sights, if I'm being honest, and you know I am nothing without my bold honesty, is these sights look a little bit too tall to me, and I might not keep them because they seem insanely tall and almost obstructing the dot. But wow, yeah, it's pretty. Whether I keep this factory trigger or not is up to debate. I probably will leave it, put a lot of rounds through this setup and see what I think, what I like. But it is night and day difference, guys. It's a pretty gun. It was a pretty gun before. Even if you don't want the magazine stuff, if you're just going to run an optic or just run irons, you could have kind of not done all this. But most guys are running this light, and to be honest, it's pretty nice. So I can't wait till I get my new holster, and then I can start running drills and start shooting this thing. But this is it. Hope you guys have liked the add-ons in part 2 of this video. And as always, I will catch you in the next video. But remember, work hard, God first.